Hello, hello, everybody. We're back with the last Oneness Biodiversity Talks in 2022. It's gone past so quickly this year. How is that for you, Chris?
Did you say something?
Yes, that
It was so fast I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
that's really fast.
Yeah, it went so fast. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But how is it for you? Welcome, by the way. Sorry. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Wow.
I'm happy to see that you're feeling better. Your voice is back.
Yeah, my
That's why
voice is
we're
back.
not here last week because you were sick.
Mhm.
But I'm happy to that you're well. You look good at least. That's one thing. So yeah, I was talking about the last talk for this year, and this year went by so quickly. It's like you blink your eyes, and then like you're a week further or something. I don't know. Is that the same experience you're having? That the time is passing by really quickly?
Yeah, but the energy goes faster, so the time goes faster as well. Actually, what we call time, because I
Yeah.
don't believe in time.
Well, there is no time. I actually was looking at a YouTube video about that this week, and Albert Einstein already proved that there is no time. Time is just something we invented to get everybody working. So no, time doesn't exist. But um, if we look at time and then see, what I could do previously, like years ago, and how quickly things evolve now, yeah, there's definitely a big uptick in that energy of
Yeah, it's a big one.
time. It is. So we were actually talking about. Oh wait! First, I have very exciting news.
Oh,
We just published on our YouTube channel a very interesting interview with Sandra Grace. So I would like to invite you to go over to our YouTube channel and check it out and let us know what you think of it, please. So yeah, that was a very nice interview to do, and I was very happy with the outcome. I did the interview, people. And for me, in doing interviews is something new. I never did that before, and it's very interesting to hear in hindsight that the people that I did the interview with, that they are so happy and that it went so well and that it was so easy and that I'm very good at it. And I'm still like, okay, because I this is one of my gifts that's more unconscious. I'm not aware of it. I'm just being me, and then things happen. So yeah, that's also how you can discover your talents and gifts. That because people are telling you like, oh, you're good at this or you're good at that, or we feel comfortable when you're like this, and that's something that since my purpose paper reading, I become more aware of, and I'm also paying more attention to what other people are saying to me or about me, because it's also for me a lot of times that I hear it through the grapevine. People are not actually saying it right to me, like in my face, but then via other persons I hear those information or that information come towards me. So that's also very interesting, um, to witness, to observe, because um, as I don't know if it's my yellow energy field, or maybe it's the combination with my profile and everything together, is that there isn't a lot of, or wasn't a lot of recognition before I really decided and chose to follow my soul, my being more. And now there is this acknowledgement, and I have to say it is actually nice to be acknowledged sometimes for things you're good at, or you do. And I know it's important that you believe in yourself and trust yourself, and but I have to say I'm human, even though I'm also being. But I like sometimes to get some acknowledgement about what my talents and gifts are, and that they are helping people or that they like them. And so yeah, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, just came up.
Because you got acknowledged of doing the interviews.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Of course, yeah. That was it. That was it. Yeah.
And I agree because you interviewed me as well, and I know I experienced the same. I have the same experience as the other said. It was for me very, yeah, very comfortable.
Well, thank you. Nice to hear. Yeah, you told me by the way before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're all usually one of the people that will say straight in my face. You're usually like, or reaching out
Mm.
to me by email, or yeah, and I really really appreciate that. It's just nice to be recognized for who you are as a person. How is that for you? And how are you with acknowledgement? Is that something that you like, or how is that showing up for you? Is it showing up? Maybe it's not.
Never. No. I don't have gifts and I don't have talents. Nobody likes me, so no.
He's
This is
being
already
sarcastic,
one.
people.
Yeah. No, no, this is already one of my gifts. The gift of a creative expressing my feelings, my own way of expressing my feelings. This is a very obvious one. And yeah, when I see people laughing, or then those things are already acknowledgments for me. And yeah, I think not only what people are telling me, but more and more also the way the body expresses them. And yes, I more and more ooh, something happened.
And the neighbor closes his door.
Bang. That's an acknowledgement too. Shut up. Anyway, yeah, a lot of people in my surroundings, yeah, they mirror me more and more, and they giving me the acknowledgement because. But I have to say, I am more living my purpose, and I'm more living my more myself, my origin. And yeah, it is, of course, it gives me a boost. It gives me some kind of it. I don't need actually I don't need the uh, the acknowledgement just for my ego or for feeling good, but it's more for me, it's more like, okay, I'm on the right way, and I'm in my focus, I'm in my flow. And what am I doing? But but one of the things I discovered recently, and I'm getting more and more discovering, is the way the way you approach people and the way they approaches you. Because when you when you get in contact with your heart, most of the times you get in contact with their heart. And um, and when you contact through your mind, most of the times you will get through their minds the contact. And it's such a big and huge difference, those two things. And especially when especially when yeah, yeah, how to challenging things are happening, and then when you manage to stay in your heart and to respond from the heart, then you really see miracles happen, and that's I really really like that. And that is, and when things like when miracles happen, that for me is an acknowledgement. That for me is like, oh wow, this is the way I want to live, and I did a good job. And I, yeah, good or bad, it doesn't exist, I know, but for me, I still have to say a word. So well done, Chris. Anyway.
Thank you for that perspective because I think that's a very important distinction. Um, we have talked about Eckhart Tolle and the pain body and stuff like that, and so when you get acknowledged, you can be like in ego, like wow, I'm really good, and stuff like that, and you can make up a whole story around yourself concerning that fact. And I like that you put it in a different perspective and only say, okay, of course, I like acknowledgement. I think every human being likes to be acknowledged because you like to be seen as a human. You
It
like to be
grows.
seen. And what I like
Everything.
is that you're saying it gives me a heads up about that I'm on the right way, that I'm walking the path that I'm supposed to walk on, and that's the acknowledgement in itself. And I like that. Yeah, I see that. I am seeing it exactly the same. It feels for me the same. It's like a confirmation for myself that I am walking my path and that I am on the path that I need to be on right now. Maybe tomorrow the path is different, but in that moment I'm there. So yeah, I like that. I like that. I think
Thank
that's
you.
an important distinction to make. Yeah.
Well,
Otherwise,
for
it's
me, it is a bit very important distinction. Yes,
yeah, yeah,
because it, like I like that you said stories, because it is, if you are, if you communicate and you are living through with your head, you create stories. And when you do that with your heart, you create something else. It's they're not stories. You can, guys, you can experience with that. So I'm not experience.
experiment,
Sorry, experiment. Experiment.
experiment,
Yeah,
experiment.
yeah, experiment with that. Um and you will find some amazing some amazing outcomes, because miracles do start to happen, and it's and it's so funny. It's so enrich. Yeah, it enriches your life, and and when you do that, you will find out that um, more and more, you know, uh, it becomes quiet and more quiet around it, because it doesn't need a story. It doesn't need a story. It's just straight on, and then poof. That's all. You don't have to explain. You don't need all those completely big stories and big happenings. You it's just like this big, or yeah. You will get to know that. If you experiment this, I can tell you, you will get more quiet in the body, in your head, and it resonates all through your body, and not only with your head, but every vessel,
Yeah.
every cell.
I've actually been this experimenting the last 2 weeks with this a lot, becoming the observer. So not the storyteller, but becoming the observer. And it is really quiet when you are in the observer state. You will see the thoughts happening, but you just see them and you're not identifying with them anymore. And it's interesting because I was getting over my twin flame separation. I was a little obsessed about not being in his life anymore, or him not being in my life anymore. And I was like, okay, I never had to deal with this kind of obsession in my life. So, and with obsession, I really mean like literally every second of the day thinking about the person, and it was driving me crazy. And I was like, okay, I need to do something with this because I'm just, doing all kinds of stuff that didn't feel right for me, but I felt so compelled to do it, like I didn't control it somehow. And then I was like, okay, um, how can I approach it in a different way? And I asked my guides. So I always wait, and then at some point I got this video on YouTube in my timeline, and I was like, oh, interesting, what's that? And I started watching it, and this guy, he was sharing that we're body, mind, and soul, and that your mind, or that we are very much identifying with the mind, what it's telling us, and the stories we tell ourselves, and the conditioning, and whatever. And that when you're going into your soul, your soul is just quiet, it's just there, and you can get guidance and whatever, but it's not the compulsive behaviors and stuff like that. And he told, or he said, like, okay, try out just to sit and start observing your breath. And what I liked about it, that he wasn't calling it a meditation, because for me meditating is well, I did it a lot, and it was always very difficult for me to do, very challenging for me to do. So what I started doing was be more aware of that I am in the now. That was for me meditating. And so I like that he said, just become aware of your breath and observe your breath. Just observe it, nothing more. And then when thoughts come up, then okay, you see the thoughts, and you're just okay with them being there. That's it. You're not gonna tell yourself another story about the thoughts being there. And one of the things for me that hit home was that he said it's always okay to have those thoughts. So don't be angry that you have them again, or that you're thinking about the guy again, or that you're no, just observe that it is there, and then just let it be. And so for me, that's helping a lot, because now I'm more like, the thoughts come. Oh, and he also says that you don't need to find a solution for them. So that it's just the thought that's there, and that's it. You observe it, and then that's it. You don't have to go to your inner child, or your inner wounds, or your karma, or whatever, because he says that's all stories that we are telling ourselves, and the soul isn't like that. Your soul is already pure. And so what for me helped within that is that now I allow myself that the thought comes up, and I'm not angry at myself. Oh, I'm thinking it again. No, I'm just like, oh, okay, it's there, and then it's gone. And for me, that helped a lot. And it even helped in that way that I had been a smoker for over 20 years, and I stopped smoking for over 7 years. And in July this year, I started smoking again. And one of the things that for me smoking is about is control, having control about something in my life. If I feel that everything else is out of control in some sense. And now that and what I always wanted, because I actually like smoking, um, is that I was always like a little bit jealous of those people that can just smoke one or two cigarettes a day, just because they wanna have one or two cigarettes a day. And for me, that was always impossible because, like also with the whole twin flame thing, I would get my mind would get obsessive about it. Like, okay, you need to smoke, and then I would start a whole dialogue in in my mind. Yeah, you're old enough to make your own decisions. So if you want to smoke, just smoke it, you know. And if it's only 20 minutes ago, well, be it. I'm gonna smoke. And now that I'm practicing the whole letting the thought come up, just acknowledge that it's there and then let it go again, I find myself smoking way less than before. Way. Like I cut down with 2/3 of smoking cigarettes, and I can not smoke for hours, not even think about it anymore. And when I think about it, just a little moment, you know, it comes up, and then I'm like, no, I'm not my thoughts. And then I'm going, let it go again. So it's interesting to see how everything you can apply it to everything because it is thoughts that are trying to control us, and it's up to us to let it control us, yes or no. And I would love to share a YouTube movie that I saw about it. Is that okay with you, Chris? So I saw it because the guy that I talked about, he said, well, let's start with watching a video. It's three videos actually, but if you only watch the first part, it's already more than enough information. And it's called Samadhi. If you write it down somewhere on your note and you go to YouTube and you look it up, you will find it. And it's in different languages. It's already translated in a lot of languages, but most of them have like subtitles. So I think for everybody in every language, you are able to listen to it. And what I especially liked about it is that for the people who are known to human design, um, is that the Raoul, the founder of human design, how do you call that? The writer of the book Human Design and the knowledge. He's talking about the vehicle, the passenger, and the Maya, and he did it in a way for me that was challenging, to say the least. I couldn't really get what he was telling about. And watching this series, that all of a sudden it became clear for me what he meant. And this series is just a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit more simple to follow, and it's easy to digest. And it's actually what Eckhart Tolle is also talking about. There's a lot of people in the spiritual community that are talking about this. It's like the core of spirituality. And they give these simple examples and exercises that you just do. And they have also guided meditation about the breathing. Just focus on the breathing and just observe the breathing. So if you are someone struggling with human design and the whole Maya and everything, then I would definitely recommend look at this video. And if anybody out there who wants to experiment with getting out of your mind and becoming more yourself, being you, that is really helpful too. So check it out and let us know below here what you were thinking of it, and if you try it out or already maybe are experimenting with it, let us know. So how do you do it? Observe it. What is it for you?
Um, how do I do it? That's a good question. It just happens.
That's I get that actually.
But I try. I try. Um, it's somehow that I don't get attached anymore of what is happening in my life. Um, and I'm not um, like I used to have goals or wishes. I do have wishes, but I just let them be, and I just see whatever. comes. And yeah, actually, it is not going into the story anymore. You just let, you just watch things happen. And at the moment, I feel, I'm going to feel then what it does to me in my body. And then I just uh, feel and observe that what it does to me. And from that point, um, yeah, something happened. I have a good example. Not long ago, my boyfriend, he was in. I call. I just when someone is in his head. I call that in his head. When you are talking with your mind and communicating with your mind, and so he was very much in his mind and communicating in his mind, and then I saw, I was observing myself because um, I really, what did it do to me? I felt myself getting pissed off, and I was like doing this, and I had to laugh. I really had to laugh. I because deep inside, for me, it was funny because I was watching myself doing that, and then when you observe that, you can analyze it somehow. Not analyze, yeah, with your mind, but on another way. It's the mind how it should be. And and then I came to the conclusion that yes, Chris, it's normal because he was communicating with his mind, so he's reaching your mind, and not your heart, but your mind, and your mind is doing things. And yeah, and it was actually, I found it very very interesting because the mind has funny things, I think, like for instance, and I think it is for all people it's different, but for me, one of the features of my mind is I can be like headstrong. I can be very not easy to forget. Oh, and of course, I actually I was right. I was right. My mind was right. What happened, but because it I was annoyed because he was not communicating by his heart. And yeah, it was funny because I was it didn't pass, because if I'm in my heart, something is happened, and then I feel it, and it takes a few seconds and it's gone. Not in the mind. In the mind, it's not as not with me anyway. It took some minutes, maybe hours, before it just slipped away. I was not all the time in my mind, but I could feel it. I could feel it when, because now what do I do? If my boyfriend starts to refer on that matter, and I tell him, no, 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 don't talk about it, because it, I go to my mind again, and I don't want to create stories. So don't talk about it anymore. It's better not to talk about it. It is gone, and I told you after, also afterwards I told him from my heart what happened. We were talking about it, and that is very nice actually, because when I did that from my heart, I reached his heart,
Yeah.
and actually he said, "Okay, I learned from it." This is Anyway, this is how you can choose to communicate with someone. You can teach them if you find people communicating by the head, by the mind. You can just wait a while and observe your mind, uh, and then after a while you can talk about it if you are in your heart. And if you don't feel like I said, for me sometimes it's not possible, because if we were talking about it again, then my like Eckhart Tolle says, my pain body is being fed again. I don't want that. I don't want the stories anymore. And by observing, yeah, you still have the pain bodies, but you will not let them getting bigger and bigger and bigger anymore. And always put a lot of humor into it. Like I am watching a funny movie, a comedy, and then I see myself doing crazy things. So yeah, is this a little bit what you ask?
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And it brings me actually to another subject that is, I think, closely related to this. You have the stories in your mind, but we also make up the stories, when we communicate with people or not communicate with people. And usually it's the latter. If we're not clear in our communication or the other person is not clear in their communication, what a lot of time happens is that people will fill in the blanks and they make up their own story around that what's not being said. And that's something that I witnessed and I'm witnessing with myself for the last year or year or two. Actually, what inspired me was Brené Brown. She's an author. She has written great books, and one of the things that she's talking about is about shame. She's a researcher. She researches shame and the part it plays in our society. And while doing that, she stumbled upon the whole storytelling. How good we are at storytelling. And when I observe, um, well, first of all, when I first started learning, because when you start observing, there's also that you're learning to come from a more neutral place. So without, if you think of a soup, it's just the plain broth, and there's not a lot that goes into it. It's just plain. It's the same, and then we as people start to add like herbs and things into it, and then my soup is totally different than when you are doing it, because maybe you are using 1 tablespoon of salt and I'm only using like a little snuff of salt, so the soup will be totally different. And that's the same when people are not actually saying what they mean, then the other people will fill in the blanks. That's just human nature, I think. It's what we are conditioned to do. So it's not nature, Mariska, it's conditioning. I'm answering my own question. So for me, what really stood out there is that I started observing myself and witnessing myself, that I would make up a whole conversation to someone, and in the end I would never get the reaction that I was looking for. And I always was like, why is that? Why are people not responding the way that I hoped that they would respond? Because I told the whole story to them, or the whole conversation, and I was very explicit. And what I found out for myself is that, I think some people call it like there's such a, oh, I use a lot of fluff. So I fluff up my conversation with a lot of details, but in actuality, I'm not really saying what I really want or need. I'm just fluffing it up in the hopes that the other person will pinch through the fluff and get to the point of me. But they don't, because they hear fluff, a lot of fluff, and they make their story around the fluff part. And so they interpret it in a totally different way that I meant for what I meant. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, but I totally understand what you mean. But
So
I was just thinking, and my mind goes very fast. And I know you have one free profile,
yeah,
and I was just thinking about you don't need so much fluff when you have more foundation for yourself. The
yeah,
more foundation you have for yourself, the stricter you can, the less fluff you need, because fluff could also be some yeah some it could be a mark of not being so self-confident, or
yeah,
no, yeah.
100%. Yeah, it has everything to do with self-confidence, self-esteem, knowing your worth, and just being yourself without being fearful that people will, say no, or anything can happen in a conversation. So, and one of the things, my solar plexus is open. And so one of the things I always uh, did is trying to avoid confrontation and just saying what I need or want in my mind could lead to a confrontation, because you will never know how someone else will react, because you don't know what the other will say or do. So I started to fluff up my stories or my conversations and work around what I like talk around what I really needed and really wanted. And I think I already shared this once, but what really is helping for me here in Mexico is that the more fluff your story is, I need to translate it to Spanish. And the more sentences you use and words, the more difficult to get a good translation. So what happened is that I had a lot of fluff and I translated a lot of fluff, and then you get lost in translation because some words are not like translated in the correct way and whatever. So I got a lot of misunderstandings, a lot. And then you have to try to walk back those misunderstandings and try to explain, no, that's not what I meant. I meant XYZ. And so I started learning to make short sentences and keep it to the point. Keep it to the point, to what I need, to what I want, to what I want to share. And then translate, and then, talk in Spanish. And that's way better because everybody, is way more clear about what I need or want. If they do it, that's not a thing. It's not about that. It's not about getting them to do something, but it's more that for me, it's helping to be like, only talk about what it is that is essential in that moment, and not, the whole story around it, because usually the fluff comes from all my stories that I tell myself, and I'm covering myself in a way, like, oh, if I add this to the story and add that to the story, then, maybe I get what I want, or maybe it will help, or, that kind of stuff. And the more clear I get and the more concise I communicate, and the more I get out of my mind, and like you say, talk from your heart, because your heart knows what it longs for, the conversations become way easier and shorter, by the way. They become a lot shorter.
Yeah. And could it be like for you, what I think what for you would be the best to do is first make sure that you have done enough research, enough that you are yourself clear about more. The more clear you are about something, the more foundation you have, and then the uncertainty from a one free disappears. Yeah, I'm writing for children. One of the I'm busy with the profiles, and I know that if you see a child being and you know it's a one free, and it's not a one free, but I mean it has a one free profile, because we are not those things, we are just consciousness. But anyway, it is the tool of the human part. So so if I see a child with a one free profile and it's uncertain, then I'm wondering, and I'm going to observe whether the child has enough foundation already. You need to give them more space to experience, and you need them uh, more space to investigate. And once they did that, once you have enough investigation, and when you have experienced enough, then you get a foundation, a solid foundation. And from that point of view, from that point, your uncertainty disappeared. And then I think for you it will be much more easy to inform in a very direct way, because I know when you are in your body and when you are in the flow, you are very bright and very just straight away. You don't need a lot of words. I know Mariska, like tuck 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 tuck, and you inform tuck 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 tuck. So when you are telling me this about the fluffy and about the wings, then I have, but it's only my feeling. I have the feeling you are just maybe a little bit too early by telling all those things. So you need more time for yourself to investigate and to experience, and after that, it's for you. It's like tuck 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 tuck, and you don't need so much words anymore. But I
Yeah,
can be
interesting.
wrong.
I haven't looked at it like that. Yeah, because it's about emotions, feelings, and
Mhm.
especially in relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, that's an interesting one. It is true that I'm getting better at it the more I learn from what is happening or what was happening and changing it, improving on
Yeah,
it. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, I will observe it more, see how that happens. But
yeah.
what I did find out, and that's I don't think that is necessarily for a 1-3, is that a lot of people communicate, um, and they're not really saying what they really
Mm.
want to say. And then people like, because I will keep it at myself, but I feel it when someone is saying something and the energy is saying something completely different.
Mm.
And I believe that everybody can pick up on that. It's not
Yeah.
that it's just energy, what you can feel.
Mm.
If you really observe, you can see like, hey, wait, what's not being said here?
Mm.
And I was the master at filling in the blanks. I was the master at it. I was like, I would create a whole story why that wasn't said and why they act like this or why they do this or don't do this or whatever. So in a relationship with people, if there was not clarity in one way or another, I would fill in. And what I observe in everybody here around me, and actually all my life, people before that too, we all do the same. So everybody has their own experiences in life, in relationships, in friendships, and whatever. And that shoe, gravy in English, is poured over the next relationship, friendship, partnership, whatever. And so we have the story that, okay, it was always like this before, so it will be like that again, or I won't ever do that again because before it was like this. And um, when you strip that away and you just get back to feeling from your heart that what it is that you say, you have a need for something. And I think this is also with, the women and versus men. And
Hmm.
yeah, you have the book, Men from Mars and Women Are from Venus. That when we put the garbage bag in front of the door, the men will just put it aside and they just walk out the door without doing anything with it. And they need us to just say, okay, can you please grab the garbage bag and throw it away. So we have to be very precise and clear about what it is that we need or want in that moment. And of course, you need to be first become. Well, no, you don't need to be because then it's probably never gonna happen. So at some point you will start to become more clear and about what your wants and needs are in life, or what you long for actually is even better. And then just say what it is that you want to say, and keep it at that. And that's actually why I like speaking with men, because men in a lot of ways are already doing that naturally.
Hmm.
So we as women, and I dare to generalize with this, um, we are always hearing or wanting them to say things while they're already pretty clear about what it is that they want, need, or whatever. Most men, of course, not everybody. Most men are like to the point, boom, 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 and that's it. And we women tend to feel all emotional and let all the emotions into the conversation. And then, or at least me, I did that a lot of time, and I observed that a lot with friends of mine too, is then the emotions get to talk. And when emotions get to talk, so they get the stage, the conversation isn't anymore about the issue, it's about emotions and the need to feel fulfillment or whatever, there's something. And what I would love to see in moving forward, like to the whole new world and whatever, is that we start to maybe talk less, and when we talk, be more diligent and more to the point of what it is that we really want or need. Instead of, like women, I think women, a lot of women can do this. I'm not saying every woman will do it, but like, for example, birthday. Birthday is coming up. And a woman will be like pointing out you're walking with your partner in the city, and you're seeing a nice watch, and you're walking over there and you're pointing to the watch. Oh, I like that watch. I like that watch. But she wants to have it for her birthday, but she's not saying that she wants it for her birthday. No, she's just pointing it out. And so that's also something that I did. I was always talking around it. I was never like saying, okay, I would love to have this for my birthday, or I would love to be this or have that or whatever. And the more concise and to the point you get, the less noise is available, and there's less noise around it. And if you're not clear on what the person is sharing, that's also why I always love our peer meetings, and the fact that Monique introduced the clarify, verify. You know, If you're not sure what's being said, instead of making up your own story about what's being said, ask the person to
Hmm.
verify. Then you know for sure what they meant and not what your gravy is that you're putting over it. And in my personal opinion, if we would start changing conversation in that way, I think a lot of misunderstandings will go away and a lot of unclarity and stuff like that. And it costs a lot less of a lot less energy because the stories they take, for me at least, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to follow the stories and to keep the stories alive. And man, and it's like we're talking about, being in the now, being just observing and witness the thought come and go. It saves a lot of energy. It saves so much energy. And in the end, you can laugh about it because usually the stories are ridiculous. If you're really honest to yourself and you observe your own stories, they are ridiculous. So yeah, sorry, I was a little bit was I preaching? Okay.
Well, not really, no.
Yeah, it's a passionate subject for me.
Yeah, it's a very good subject because there's a lot of a lot to gain from this thing. And if it's okay with you, I would like to point out another very important distinction. What would save a lot of energy and a lot of pain and a lot of actually wars or whatever. It is about what I found out and for myself. It's about primary and secondary. It is like something is happened. Um, Let me put a very good example. Yeah. Um, okay. Yeah. I have an example. For instance, I was applying for a job, and I was doing an interview with you, and you were telling me, Christina, you will not be the one for the job. Okay, then primarily I will feel pain because it will hurt me because I wanted a job. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother to do the interview. So that is primary pain or fear or whatever. It could be fear, whatever. That is primary. It most of the times it only takes a few seconds, of not a very long time, and then it goes away. And if you get, and if you are able to stay with that, and to because now there is something very very important, because you have the secondary pain. The secondary pain, it is like, what choice do you make? What is the choice you make to reply or to answer for this thing happening? And from the secondary part, there comes the stories. So I give you the example. So I could do one thing. So the primary pain is the same. Primary pain because I'm disappointed. I feel pain. I feel maybe I start to feel like, oh, why, and why am I not good enough or whatever. It hurts, and then it hurts for a few seconds, a few minutes maybe, but then it's over. And then I will come to a point like, okay, I can my I can choose. I can choose to think to I can choose to observe or to ask you, like, what is the reason? What is the reason for me? not being suitable for the job, and then you tell me, and it could hurt again, but and then I say, okay, thank you. I start to learn, and then I say, okay, I choose for myself. I choose to stay happy with me. There's nothing wrong with me. It's not a match. I cannot, I cannot live. I cannot be someone they are looking for, whatever. So then I feel okay because it doesn't hurt that way. That way it doesn't hurt because I get clarity. I feel proud of myself because I ask it, and I still am proud of myself because I love the way I am. And then I see, oh, no match. But then you can also have another choice. The so again, I feel the pain, and I can choose to to defend myself for this is an example of another choice, and I start to become angry with you because you are and I started to and I choose for having the thought that you reject me, and then I blow up the pain because I put another pain to it, and after, yeah, you just create that pain and start to become bigger and bigger, things like that. So that is the secondary. So the primary is what it really causes, and it does not need a lot of time. And the secondary is how you react on it. And I really believe here is a uh, lot of positive things or whatever, a lot to gain in the world. If people would be aware of this, then the world would could be a lot happier, or it would change completely. And I started to live more like that, more and more, to be aware of the secondary part. And I can tell you guys, you can experiment with that. See what it, see if you choose for one thing or the other thing, and how it would be in your life. This is what I wanted to mention. It's a
Yeah, great explanation. Very clear, concise. Yeah. Yeah, I recognize that. And I think it's time that we quit because we started with the glitch and now we're ending with a glitch. Yeah, you people didn't see that because we waited until the glitch was over before we started. But apparently, after an hour, the webcam of Chris is like, no, not going there anymore. So let's put an end to this talk for this year, the last one of the year. And well, I want to wish you a very fun, loving, experimental Christmas time because when you are getting together with your family, that's a great time to observe patterns in your life, what's coming up, because usually family tends to push all your buttons. So instead of dreading it, just go open with open mind, or your friends or family or whomever you're spending Christmas with.
yeah, experiment with the secondary choice.
Exactly. It's a great time for experimenting, but we also wish you, of course, a very loving, caring uh, holiday season. And when you're alone, know that, it's hard, especially when you have lost ones. Maybe you lost someone in your family, or your husband, or your child, or whatever. Then Christmas is always a challenging time. And for those, I want to say, reach out to someone. Let someone know when you're hurting, because usually people don't know. And it's not that they don't want to be there for you, they just don't know that they are, or that you need them. That's something that I learned in my life, especially when I was very ill for a very long time, is that reaching, or at least let people know what you need. And then it would surprise me if nobody would say yes to that. So experiment with that too, if you're, looking to be alone this Christmas and you don't want to be alone. If you want to be alone, please be alone. But it's a great time to, yeah, look at things from a different perspective and see how that shows up in your life, and how that makes you feel. Maybe you learn something from it that will make you feel more happy with yourself, with the people around you, and everything. So, Chris, oh wait, I will add you, sorry.
No, no, no worries.
So what are your wishes for people with Christmas?
I wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I just wanted to say, guys and girls and everybody, hang on there, because yeah, how do you say it? It's getting crazier and crazier, and just trust and experiment with all those things what we were saying, and yeah, try to. I really wish that everybody would be able to be the observer, more and more, because I'm not always the observer,
Oh,
of
me
course.
neither.
No, I'm not. Anyway, but the more and more you will be able to, and and I wish that next year we can all, because yeah, I would say, guys, um, just focus on what you want and what you long for, and not focus on what is happening which you don't like, because there where your energy goes, it will grow. So I think for me, the big key of change is to put your focus on things that you want and the things that I like. I more and more let everything the way it is in the world, and I have a lot of compassion, I really feel with everything. But I am more and more focused on the world I want to create, how I see the world. So my wish for everybody is to be more aware of doing so, because we people, we can create everything. We are such a beautiful creatures, and we can create beautiful things. And let's create a beautiful world together. So
Yes.
this is what I wish for. And in the new year, we will continue with our talks, and hopefully we will be able to talk more and more about how we see it and what we want to create.
Yeah, I need to say we have 2 weeks off. We take 2 weeks vacation, and we will
Yes,
be back the 9th of January if everything goes as planned.
if we are still here.
Exactly,
No, funny.
exactly. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.